know, some of it got into a magazine, though, that Stella has down in her attic somewhere. She took these magazines, and there was poems of Larry Gorman's in that magazine. She said she was going to look through. She probably had quite a job at that.
If she can find them, just fine. I'd love to see it.
Well, that might be. Of course, I wouldn't know about that, but you know, the trouble with him, why his stuff didn't go through. So he was a little childish, I think, about his poems. Now, anything, if he got mad at anybody, the first thing, he'd write a great big piece of poetry about him. Oh, he'd slander him something terrible.
Can you remember the one that he wrote about, any part of the one that he wrote about the man down the mill, and he was mad at you,
Well,
telling him?
yes, that was John McNamara, and that never should have been, because he went to work for John McNamara in the yard handling pulpwood.
In the yard, where was that?
At the South Brewer for the Easterns.
Oh,
And I guess he was too light for the work or something, so McNamara, well, he didn't exactly let him go, but he saw some of the other bosses and told them, see, that Larry wasn't quite man enough for that work, and they better change him. Well, they did. They took Larry and they put him at another job over in the mills, something easier, you know. But he was so mad at John McNamara for that he wrote this great poem about him. And the name of it was, what he called it, was Nero on the Great John Mac.
Nero?
Yeah. And the way he had it put together, the way he had it was as though John McNamara had died and went down below, and one of his great joys was to meet up with Nero. And the great times they had telling each other about how they punished people on earth, and how John Mac was so pleased to meet him, and of course every verse ended up with Nero and the great John Mac. And first, you know, one would tell about how he punished the people on earth and how, and then the other, and first it'd be one, and then the other, see, that each one would make a verse. And of course they all ended up with, said Nero to the great John Mac, Nero from the great John Mac, or something like that. And I never learned, but the last line or two of it was after they told all this great stuff, and then they each embraced the other and hugged until their joints did crack. Then they disappeared forever, Nero and the great John Mac.
That was crazy.
That was the way it ended up.